Hello friends and welcome back to my channel, Blue Nose Trading. My name is Tori Solis and today I'm going to be unboxing and building my new Shimpo SR-3050 slab roller. The slab roller arrived in several different boxes. I have no idea what is in each one, so the first logical step is going to be unboxing everything, finding the instructions, and then staring at those instructions for some time. Don't worry, I will cut the time I spend staring at the instructions and the pieces out of the video. I'm super excited to finally add a slab roller to my studio. I've had great experiences with Shimpo so far, so I decided to go with their slab roller to keep a matching studio set. I'll be assembling the slab roller by myself today. Since I made it as far as sitting down to edit this video, it's safe to say that if you are of able body, you can put this together yourself. However, some parts are a little bit heavy and everything is easier with friends. Beandog is going to help me out today. She's a bit of a nervous personality and she was generally concerned by all these large new objects in our space. Pepita is also featured today because she lives next to the slab roller, and if you're ever wondering why all of my videos have voiceover audios, this is why. The parrot is why. As it was packaged for me, one box contained the legs and hardware, one box had the wagon wheel and crank handles, one box had tabletops, and the biggest, heaviest box had the mechanical parts of the actual slab roller. I found the instruction book packed inside with the core mechanism of the slab roller. I'll do a quick flip through of the manual. You can pause this video or you can go to the PDF from Shimpo for the manual, which I will have linked in the video description below for you. These are not my favorite kinds of instructions, but we're going to figure it out. The first step is to assemble the frame. The frame is made of 4 legs, 2 side rails with latches, and 2 end rails. The legs attach to the side rails using M10 cap screws and hex nuts. There are holes in the frames and legs that line up easily, although it can be a little bit tricky to hold up the first couple of pieces to get the screws in. This is where a friend would indeed be helpful, but as evidenced here, it's not impossible to do it by yourself. At first, I'm only putting the frame together hand tight. I think it's important to at least mention for right now that I will be tightening these screws with tools once I have the frame loosely together. When putting the side rails with latches on, be sure to double check that your latches and the notch that will hold the slab roller are in the correct position. Quickly, I will zoom in and show you how I am threading the screw, washer, and nut through the channels and tightening them to hand tight. Generally speaking, you want to put the washer on the side with the nut. I don't make the rules. I had to Google it to make sure because it was kind of confusing to me too, but that is what it says. A couple of the legs arrived a little beat up around the ends. That makes it a little bit tougher to get the holes to line up with the screws by hand, but it shouldn't be a real issue because when we use tools to tighten the screws, this should bend right back into its proper place. With the frame and the legs all loosely together, the next step is to attach the slab roller mounting brackets. These are attached to the leg frame with the same M10 screw and nut that we've been using up to this point to build the frame. At this point, the frame is together in a hand-tight way, which is not stable or safe to support any kind of weight. Thus, the next step is going to be to tighten up your screws and nuts. I'm going to use this wrench and ratchet because they're what I found in my house toolbox. There might be better tools for the job, but I don't know what they are. If you do, then please, by all means, use the tools that you have. What's important here is that you get the nut and screw tightly secured all around the frame. Here where the metal frame came really bent up in the box, we can see that when we tighten up the screws, it's going to pull that frame flush. So it's not a super big deal if some of the pieces of your legs are a little bit bent up. The next step is to attach the leveling handles that are used to adjust the thickness onto the wheel of the slab roller. The canvas slab mat was also tucked in with the slab roller, so I'm going to set that off to the side. The leveling handles were down in the bottom of the packing with the slab roller. I grabbed a wrench and a flathead screwdriver to attach the handles. I'll be honest here, the leveling handles were a little bit confusing. They came with this nut on them, but they don't fit into the wheel with the nut on. There is also nowhere from the bottom to attach the nut, so it seems like the nut was kind of for nothing, or maybe the nut was to hold the screw into the leveling handle during transport. I don't know, extra parts always make me a little bit nervous, but they don't seem especially important, so whatever. The next step is to mount the slab roller on the frame. Okay, so this is the part where our friend would be extremely helpful. The slab roller itself is heavy, bulky, and awkward. This was the hardest part, as you can see from my clear struggle bus in here. If you've got any kind of back problems, or just don't do this, you would probably need to get a friend if you are not fully able-bodied and kind of strong. Once you have that big beast up on the stand, you need to secure it using M6 socket cap screw and wing nut. I used my hands and a hex key to tighten up the screws. There is a hex key that came with the hardware, but it's one of those tiny cruddy ones, so I just used my own for better leverage, except for later in this video when somehow I lose my own, and then I use the cruddy one for the rest of the video. With the slab roller now securely attached to the frame, the next step is to attach either the wagon wheel or the crank handle. I'm going to attach both, mostly because I thought I wanted the wagon wheel and then I changed my mind and put the crank handle on. Both the handle and the wagon wheel attach in the same way. There's a small piece of screw with a top that connects to the hex key. You do not want to take this piece all the way out. You only want to loosen it slightly so the handle of your choosing can slide onto the shaft, and then you want to tighten it to connect the crank or wagon wheel to the shaft. I took it all the way out because I'm a goober tube, and if you're also a goober tube and absolutely cannot resist taking it all the way out just to have a look at the mechanics of it, then fine. I understand. But please don't lose that little piece or you're going to have a really, really tough day. Great, so handle chosen and attached, the next step is to attach the tabletops. This is super exciting because there weren't written directions for this part. You just have to look at the diagram and have a diagram brain. So if you don't have a diagram brain, let me help walk you through this. Oh, and Azusi has woken from her old lady nap, so she's come out to check out the slab roller too and get some pets. These parts are the clasp brackets. They are part 010 in the assembly manual, but there is no picture to go with them. They go with the wing nut and flathead screw 005. There are pre-drilled holes in the tabletop that lines up with the clasp bracket. There's a right and a wrong way to attach the brackets. On each of the tabletops, there's an edge that has a cut at an angle. You need your bracket to attach so that angle will face down. You want the top surface to be the flat side of the table. The beveled edge is to give the rollers the space they need to turn. You also want to make sure that the lip of the clasp is facing outward so the bottom part of the clasp can grab onto it. When the lip is correctly facing outward, the wing nuts will also be facing outward. So in summary, the clasp brackets need to be on the bottom of the tabletop, which is the side with the bevel, and the brackets need to have the lip facing outward. When you have your brackets attached, you can put your tabletops on and clasp them down to the frame. Take care when you put the tabletops on to adjust them close to but not touching the roller. You also don't want a huge space between the rollers and the tabletop, so just take care to line them up well before clamping down. Once you have the tabletop clamped down, congratulations, you did it. Now you can use the top wheel handles to adjust the thickness of your slab, throw some clay in between the canvas, and clumsily or elegantly roll out your first slab. For me, it was more the former. Ironically enough, at the time of unboxing this roller and making this video, I was elbows deep in a B3 black project, so the first slab ever rolled was the absolute worst clay for iron stain. Breaking it right in, no holds backs here in the studio. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I hope this video was helpful if you find yourself confused on how the heck to put together your new Shimpo Slab roller. Links to the manual and all those related sorts of things can be found in the video description below. If you'd like to help support my channel and get early access to my videos, you can become a member of my channel right here on YouTube. For daily art shorts and a weekly art vlog and monthly ceramics podcast, be sure to subscribe to my channel, Blue Nose Trading. Remember that you have great ideas that are worth exploring, and I will see y'all next week.